Hello there, very good evening. This is the weekend edition of Primetime News on TV1 for the Newsfirst, where the people come first. I'm Martin Satyanesan. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for this evening.
No new agreement on Pork Strait or Kachativu with India. Foreign Minister clarifies. 4 fisherfolk dead in Tangol after consuming unknown liquid. 2 in critical condition. Protest held demanding ill fisherfolk be brought ashore. Prepare for presidential polls. Election Commission tells government institutions. NPP unveils Science and Technology Policy Framework. We are not obligated to support Ranil Wickremesinghe at the upcoming presidential polls, SLPP stresses. Basil Mahinda-led SLPP instructed us to support Ranil. Mahindananda says. Election Commission hints on foreign influence on Sri Lanka elections.
අපි දැක්කා චීනය සහ ඉන්දියාව කොහොමද මාලදීවිනේ දේශපාලන බලපෑම් කරන්නේ.
On to those stories in detail. Minister of Foreign Affairs Ali Sabri confirmed that no new agreement has been reached with India regarding the boundaries of Pork Strait and Kachativu issue. Minister Ali Sabri told Newsfirst that there have been no discussions between the two countries on this matter.
Minister of Foreign Affairs Ali Sabri said that no new agreement has been reached in response to a report in India's The Hindu newspaper yesterday, which claimed a new agreement had been reached between India and Sri Lanka regarding the Pork Strait and Kachativu. While citing an official statement, The Hindu reported a new agreement, but it did not provide any details about the agreement's content. Despite the report, Minister Ali Sabri reiterated that no such discussions have taken place. In a media briefing held today by the Northern Provincial Fishermen's Association, comments were also made on this issue.
අපි ඉන්දියාව රාජ්‍යයෙන් ඉල්ලීමක් කරනවා අපේ රාජ්‍යයට මැදිහත් වෙන්න කියලා කියනවා 1974 දී එකඟ වෙච්ච ඉන්දිරා ගාන්ධි මැතිණියත් එක්ක ඇති වෙච්ච එකඟතාවයේ කචතිව් දුප්පත සම්බන්ධයෙන් ඒ ජාත්‍යන්තර නීතිය අර්ථ ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්න කියන කාරණය අපි ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා.
SK Senthivel from the Marxist-Leninist Party had this to say.
கடற்படை வீரர் கொல்லப்பட்டிருக்கிறார் எங்களுடைய நாட்டினுடைய மக்களுடைய சுதந்திரத்தையும்
A Navy sailor died in our sea. It was during this time that the Hindu newspaper reported about Kachativu agreement. We suspect that the Sri Lankan government has strictly given this area to Indian fishermen for illegal fishing. We doubt that the Ranil Wickremesinghe government has taken help from the Indian government and entered into such an agreement for the benefit of India.
அதை பற்றி ஒரு முடிவுக்கும் வந்திருக்கிறோம் என்று சொல்லி இருக்கிறார்கள்.
Regarding the matter of 10 Indian fishermen charged with death in Sri Lanka, India's Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson Randir Jaiswal said that India has always prioritized the welfare of these fishermen and is making efforts to bring them back home. They face charges related to the death of the Sri Lankan Navy sailor who was killed during an operation to apprehend them in the sea of Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka Navy said they launched a homicide investigation into the sailor's death.
4 fishermen died after drinking a liquid they found in a bottle adrift at sea. Director General of Fisheries Sushanta Kahavata stated that 2 other fishermen who consumed the liquid are in critical condition. He added that they are being brought back ashore.
According to reports, the multi-day fishing trawler had departed the Tangol fishing harbour on the 4th of June for fishing activities. Sri Lanka Navy said that the sailors had found the bottle adrift in the sea about 320 nautical miles south of Tangol. Another group of sailors had boarded the fishing trawler and taken steps to bring it ashore. Director General of Fisheries Susanta Kahavata said that the trawler can travel at a maximum speed of 7 nautical miles per hour. Medical advice was given to the sailors with the intervention of the Navy. The fishing community in Tangol engaged in a protest this evening, demanding that the sailors in critical condition be brought ashore. They blocked the Tangol-Mathura main road in Pallikkaduwa. Newsfirst correspondents said that the protest disrupted vehicular movement on the road.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe visited the St. Sebastian National Shrine, Kandana, this afternoon to review its development activities.
The St. Sebastian National Shrine in Kandana is one of the most frequented Catholic shrines in the Colombo Archdiocese, with its annual feast attracting more than 100,000 devotees from across the island. A long-standing request for the construction of a drainage system to manage the water accumulation in the church and its surrounding areas had been made. The estimated cost for this project is 6 million rupees. The President presented a cheque of 2 million rupees, representing the first phase of funding for this project, to the administrator and parish priest of the St. Sebastian National Shrine. The road leading from Negombo Road to the St. Sebastian National Shrine is in the state of disrepair. In response to requests for its restoration, the President contacted the Minister of Transport, Highways and Mass Media, Dr. Bandulu Gunawardena, and instructed him to arrange for the immediate repair of the road. The President, during discussions with the Reverend Fathers regarding the educational activities of Catholic schools in Negombo, also emphasized the government's commitment to swiftly addressing the issues faced by these schools. In addition, the President inquired about the experiences of the Catholic visitors who attended the St. Sebastian Shrine over the weekend and engaged in friendly conversations with them. The Election Commission will be empowered to proclaim the date for the presidential election in 18 days.
The Election Commission in a letter has informed the relevant institutions, including government institutes, to prepare for a presidential election. Chairman of the Election Commission, RMAL Ratnayaka, stated that the Department of Government Printing, Police, Ceylon Electricity Board, National Water Supply and Drainage Board and other institutions were informed of the preparations in a letter.
The chairman of the Election Commission, RAML Ratnayaka, said that the district assistant and deputy election commissioners were informed to prepare a statistic on the number of officers and vehicles required for the presidential election. The National Election Commission also informed the district assistant election commissioners to prepare the polling stations with the support of Grama Niladhari officers. The Department of Government Printing confirmed that preparations for the election are underway as informed by the Election Commission. Government printer Ganga Kalpani Liyanage highlighted that the total cost for the printing related to the elections is being estimated, since all costs including the price of raw materials have increased compared to the previous years. The Monaragala District Conference of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party was held in Bellawaya today.
Sri Lanka Nidas Paksha Pradhana Navasandaneta Rove Ratata Dinuma Ratata Ekko Perata Sri Lanka Nidas Paksha Pradhana Navasandaneta Monaragala District Janata Bata
නැවත සැරයක් අර පාරම්මාන 69 ලක්ෂය ගිලිහෙන්න නොදී රැකගන්න.
The 6.9 million people are lost. They must be saved without letting history repeat. That happened due to the mistakes of those who led the party. We should join and support the SLFP alliance in order to build it again in a short period of time. We have the opportunity to discuss about who we are supporting and our plan for the presidential election.
කරන්නේ මොකද්ද? අපි කාටද උදව් කරන්නේ? මොන වැඩපිළිවෙලද අපි ගෙනියන්නේ කියන එක තමුන්නාන්සලක සාකච්ඡා කරන්න අපිට දැන් අවස්ථාවක් ඇති වෙලා තියෙනවා.
ලංකාවේ වැඩිම ඡන්ද දුන්නේ ගෝඨාභයට මේ ආසනේ. සජිත් 8000යි ගෝඨාභයට 98000.
The largest number of votes in this electorate went to Gotabaya. Votes from the Vallava electorate were 8,000 for Sajith and 98,000 for Gotabaya. This alliance was not formed to crumble. If the situation in Vallava is like this, imagine Badulla on the 14th. We have experience in elections. Today, everyone on the stage is an election machine. Those who are saying that they have 6.9 million votes got nothing in reality. The 6.9 million were created by the SLFP. SLFP and SLPP are the same. We assure you that the 6.9 million are with this alliance now. We will take 3/4 of that 6.9 million.
අපිත් එක්ක කියන එක මේ වෙලාවේ කියන්න ඕන. අපි 69 ලක්ෂේ කුට්ටි අපි ගන්නවා බාගෙට වැඩි 3 කාලක් අපි කඩා ගන්න.
මේ පක්ෂයේ ශක්තිමත් ඉදිරියට යනවා.
අපි ඊළඟ
This party moves forward with strength. We will lead this party and alliance towards our next victory. We assure you that we will elect the next president of the country. SLFP and the new alliance will win the majority and become the main party of parliament in general elections as well.
කරනේ ආණ්ඩු බලය ගන්නේ ආණ්ඩුවේ ප්‍රධාන පක්ෂ වෙන්නේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයයි නව සන්ධානයයි කියන පණිවිඩය ඔබට ලබා දෙමින් ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයට ජය වේවා.
එහෙම නැතුව පක්ෂයක් හැදුවා කියලා එහෙම මෙහෙන් අහිනගත්
A party of alliance cannot be taken forward by picking out members randomly. That's why we have chosen the most suitable members. We will strengthen this alliance by getting more groups to join our alliance in the future.
තවත් ඉදිරියට කණ්ඩායම් එකතු කරගෙන අපි මේ සන්ධානය ශක්තිමත් කරන්න යන්නේ. ඊළඟ පාර්ලිමේන්තු මැතිවරණයේදී මේ රටේ අගමැතිවරයා වෙන්නේ
The next Prime Minister will be from this alliance of SLFP. No matter who the President will be, he will be appointed from our alliance. We will form more than 100 electorates from SLFP in the next government. We have proven our work with actions.
ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයෙන් හදනවා කියන එක තමයි උන්වහන්සේලා මතක් කරනවා. අපි වැඩ කරලා ඔප්පු කරපු මිනිස්සු
The National People's Power unveiled its Science and Technology Policy Framework today under the auspices of National People's Power leader Anurukumar Disanayaka. The chief guest of the event was Professor Gomiku Dugamsurya from the University of Houston. The Science and Technology Committee was also appointed during the event.
ලංකාව වියදම් කරන්නේ GDP එකෙන් ඒ කියන්නේ දේශීය දල නිෂ්පාදනය
Sri Lanka spends only 0.1% of its GDP on research and development. This is a very low figure, ranking us 110th out of 119 countries. There are just 9 countries below us. South Korea, for example, invests 4.5% of its GDP in research and development. Given our current debt burden, how can the government spend on research and development? However, encouraging our industrialists to invest a percentage of their profits in research and development could be a viable solution. By fostering a culture of innovation, Sri Lanka can produce goods competitive enough for export markets.
පිටරට පවා යවන්න පුළුවන් භාණ්ඩ නිෂ්පාදනය කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙනවා.
අගේ එකතු කර දේවල් අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ ඇයි? ඒ බය අගේ එකතු කරන්න නම් අපි මම කියන්නේ imports නවත්තලා පටන් ගන්න ඕනේ කියලා. නමුත් ඒ ගැන අපි
Why are value-added products important? It's not about simply stopping imports and starting production. We need a roadmap for that. However, value addition can significantly increase the worth of our exports as evidenced by scientific research data. But implementing this requires a collaborative effort, not just from scientists. Businesses need to participate, understand the market, and identify potential customers. Without a market understanding, bringing a product to fusion is impossible. Our current research and development policy seems focused solely on scientists, which hinders its effectiveness. Everyone, scientists, businesses, and investors need to be involved to ensure success.
විද්‍යාඥයන්ට විතරක් මේක research and development policy එකක් හැදුවා. ඕගොල්ලෝ දැන් කරගෙන යන්න කියලා එකක් නැහැ. මේකට සියලු දෙනාම එකතු වෙන්න ඕනේ මේ දේ සාර්ථක කරගන්න.
මේ සියලුම පර්යේෂණ සහ සංවර්ධන රටේ ආර්ථිකයට ගැට ගැසිය යුතුමයි.
All research and development efforts should be strategically linked to our nation's economic growth. Without this connection, the country won't reap the full benefits of these investments. Through effective R&D, we aim to achieve 3 primary objectives. First, we want R&D to be a powerful engine for economic advancement. Imagine a thriving economy built through collaboration between government and the private sector. This collaborative approach is the story we want to complete. Second, R&D should contribute to the improvement of human well-being and social progress. Finally, R&D efforts should address environmental protection and develop solutions for sustainable environmental challenges. This policy transcends political affiliations. We encourage everyone to thoroughly research it and share your valuable feedback. Let's gather these ideas within a month to finalize this policy. Together, through effective R&D and collaboration, we can build a developed and prosperous future for our nation.
සම්පූර්ණ කරමු. අවසානයේ අපි හැමෝම බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන දියුණු සංවර්ධිත රටක් කරා අපේ රට ගෙනියන්න අපි හැමදෙනාම එකතු වෙමු.
මේ විදිහට ගලාගෙන ගියොත් මේට වඩා නරක අන්තයකට අපි යනවා වෙනුවට යනවා ඇරුණකොට මේකෙන් ගොඩේමක් නෑ. නැත්නම් අපිට පැවරී තිබෙන කාර්යභාරය තමයි මොකද්ද?
If we continue on this path, there is no escape from a disastrous outcome. The task before us is clear: a decisive transformation. The current course isn't a minor detour. It's leading to destruction. Without such transformation, diverting from the brink of collapse requires exceptional leadership and the unwavering courage of a large group of people. Only then we can change course and lead our nation towards a better future. Imagine a raging river headed for destruction. Putting a flag on it won't change its course. We need to divert the entire river, not just add a symbol. Our goal is not symbolic change. We need a transformation that creates a prosperous nation and people. Small reforms won't achieve this. We need to unite the skills and expertise of all sectors under strong leadership for a focused period. This transformation can create a brighter future for our country.
සියලු හැකියාවන් සියලු නිපුණතාවයන් එක තැනකට ගෙනල්ලා අවුරුදු කීපයක් අපේ රට මෙහෙවුවොත් අපිට මේ පරිවර්තනය අපේ මාතෘභූමියට උදා කරගත හැකියි.
United National Party Chairman Vajra Abewardhana attended a UNP campaign in Kaluthara today.
විශේෂයෙන්ම රට බංගලෝභාවය නිදහස් වීම පිළිබඳ සාකච්ඡා වෙනකොට කියනවා මේක ඒගොල්ලන්ට පිළිගන්න බෑ ජාත්‍යන්තර රේටිං සංවිධානය තමයි මේක මේ පිළිබඳ නිකුත් කරන්න ඕන කියන නිල ප්‍රකාශය මොකද හිතෙන්නේ මේක?
If someone believes there is a better system beyond this current one, they should take responsibility for implementing it with the people. Difficult decisions are never easy, but dismantling the current system could lead to Sri Lanka becoming a colony again. This would open the door to usurers exploiting our nation. Some accuse Ranil Wickremesinghe of selling the country. This is simply not true. He is not selling the country, nor will he allow anyone else to do so. We must not abandon the path we are on. If we do, the nation will suffer.
The Agalawatte Electorate Conference of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna was held today.
Sri Lanka Podujana Peramune Jatika Sanvidhayaka Garunamal Rajapaksa Matuman Agalawatte Janatawa Unusum lesa piliganna mohota එන්න ජනාධිපති මැතිවරණයයි කියන එක අපිට විශ්වාසයි. ඒ ජනාධිපතිවරණයේදී පොදු ජන පෙරමුණ සහයෝගය දෙන අපේක්ෂකයා කවුද කියලා තමයි මාධ්‍යයෙන් නිතර.
We are certain that a presidential election will be held. The media keeps asking which candidate the SLPP will be supporting. We have a president who had to be imported. However, that is a different story. This is still a government of the SLPP. If someone thinks that the SLPP is a type of party to simplify support a candidate who is put forward by some other faction, they are very much mistaken. I would like to remind you all that the SLPP will put forward its own candidate for the upcoming presidential election. President Ranil Wickremesinghe, who became the president with the support of the SLPP, is running the country just fine. We have no issues with that. If anyone thinks that it is the few of the UNP who brought the country to the level that it is right now, they are very much mistaken. The minister who ended an era of fuel queues is none other than SLPP Minister Kanchana Wijesekara. If progress was achieved at the IMF, that was done by our Anuradhapura representative, State Finance Minister Shehan Semasinghe. No matter if it is Ranil Wickremesinghe or Rohita Abegunawardena who holds that seat, Shehan Semasinghe and Kanchana Wijesekara will not look back without completing their tasks. We do respect Ranil Wickremesinghe. However, if someone thinks of giving away the North and East through the 13th Amendment, we will have no deal with them. The candidate who will refuse to legalize same-sex marriage will be the SLPP candidate. The candidate who does not sell off national resources will be the SLPP candidate. We cannot appoint a leader simply because they ended an era of queues. If there is a party has highly qualified candidates in abundance, that party is SLPP.
ඒ නිසා ඊළඟ ජනාධිපතිවරණයට සුදුසුකම් තියෙන ඕනේ තරම් අපේක්ෂකයෝ ඉන්නවා නම් ඒ ඉන්න එකම පක්ෂය ශ්‍රී ලංකා පොදු ජන පෙරමුණ පමණයි. ආයෝජන ගේන මුවාවෙන් රාජ්‍ය සම්පත් විකුණන්න උත්සාහ කරනවා. රාජ්‍ය සම්පත් කුණු කොල්ලේට විජාතිකරණය කරන්න උත්සාහ කරනවා. ඒ තුල සාධාරණයක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ.
National resources are being sold off in the guise of bringing in investments. There are attempts being made to denationalize state resources. Nothing good will come out of this. A time period has been given to restructure debt of the country. Maybe it is not time for the current leaders to start paying the debt. However, the future generations will have to pay off the debt. That debt will have to be paid off using national revenue. Therefore, a long-term plan needs to be in place, linked with this domestic economy. This is our stance. To all those listening, we will do everything in our power to protect our power camp. On the day of the election, you can do your part. We must remind you all that Pohotua is a symbol you are sure to see on the ballot paper on that day.
ශ්‍රී ලංකා පොදු ජන පෙරමුණේ අගලවත්
Senior members of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna responded to a statement made by the former ambassador to Russia, Udayanga Weerathunga, on SLPP's presidential candidate. Udayanga Weerathunga yesterday said that Dhammika Pereira will be SLPP's presidential candidate.
However, it has now been decided internally that the SLPP will nominate its own candidate. Therefore, under no circumstances will Ranil Wickremesinghe be the SLPP candidate, and I am certain Dhammika Pereira will be our candidate.
Dhammika Pereira ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂකයෙක් වෙනවා කියලා අපිට මට ස්ථිරයි.
ධම්මික මාස්ටර් මේ පාර ජනාධිපතිවරණේ මේ පොට්ටුවෙන් දානවා කියලා තමයි කියන්නේ.
එහෙම කියනවද? මම නම් දන්නේ නැහැ. කවුද මම දන්නේ නැහැ. මම නම් දන්නේ නැහැ. එහෙම කවුද එහෙම කිව්වේ? නෑ කිසිම සාකච්ඡාවකදී කිසිම අවස්ථාවකදී තාම පක්ෂය වෙනත් අපේක්ෂකයෙක් හෝ කවුරුත් දානවා කියලා තීන්දුවක් කරගෙන නැහැ. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා පක්ෂය ගන්නවා නම් පක්ෂයේ විධායක සභාවක් තියෙනවා. ගිය සතියන්තයේ පක්ෂයේ විධායක සභාව තිබ්බා, මහා සභාව තිබ්බා. ඒ සියල්ලට දාලා තමයි ඉතින් එක එක්කෙනාට ඉතින් ඔය පෞද්ගලික අවශ්‍යතාවයේ මත එහෙම කරන්න බෑ. මේක පක්ෂයක්. ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදී පක්ෂයක්. පක්ෂය තමයි තීරණය කරන්නේ.
The Galle district rally of the Sarva Jana Balaya was held under the auspices of the party leaders.
අපි ගෙවන්න තියෙන විදේශ ණය පොලි වාරිකයෙන් 73ක් ගෙවන්න තියෙන්නේ බැඳුම් කර ණය හිමියන්ට. 73ක්.
73% of the external debts are for bondholders. The other small percentage left is bilateral debts. There is no solution to the bondholders' debts of 73%. The most part of the international sovereign bondholders was added to the debts of our country by Ranil. Ranil Wickremesinghe acts as the crisis solver, but he is the father of this crisis. This country is taken forward in a simple path as Argentina. Argentina is a country fallen down again and again. Not a single country has come out of bankruptcy by following an IMF program. To rebuild this country, the youth should be empowered with an entrepreneurial mind for a production based on economy. 1 unit of electricity is bought from Adani for 24 rupees in the Mana wind power plants, 24 from Adani and 14 from tender, taking the chance to steal and exploit even during a crisis. SLPP are the ones supporting this wrong path. I heard the SLPP is presenting a candidate and Vimal Veeravansa is also coming. Vimal Veeravansa is not going anywhere. The Sarva Jana Balaya stage is the only stage I will be on. The others are not capable of anything, including Basil Rajapaksa's followers.
බැසිල් රාජපක්ෂලගේ පංගර නැට්ටෝ ටිකට කරන්න පුළුවන් කෙන්ගෙඩියක් නැහැ. මම පාර්ලිමේන්තු මන්ත්‍රීවරුන් 193 දෙනෙකුට කතා කරා පහුගිය අවුරුද්දක්.
I spoke to nearly 193 MPs over the last year, and we tried to talk to 53 of those MPs who we thought are not corrupt. But I regret to say, unfortunately, everyone has done something to betray their principles in order to get the benefits. No matter what foolish stories are published on YouTube, we are not leaving this. We can make a difference while being in this political camp.
අපිට පුළුවන් ඒ වෙනස කිරීමට උපරිම ධෛර්යය යොදන බව ප්‍රතිඥා දෙමින් මම නියත වෙනවා. ස්තුතියි.
Samagi Jana Balawegaya General Secretary Ranjit Madduma Bandara said a powerful alliance will be formed next month with the support of former MPs of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna. He expressed these views during the inauguration ceremony of a party office in Biyagama.
10 members who used to be with the SLPP have joined our party and are now working as organizers. Another group has allied with us. Within the next 2 days, more than 12 people will join us, some of whom will become members of our party. Additionally, 12 MPs from our Tamil and Muslim parties are joining us. This means that we are working to establish the largest and most powerful alliance in the history of this country within the next month.
Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa said that it is his expectation to extend the date of beginning the payment of bilateral debt to the year 2033.
According to the agreement that has been signed related to bilateral debt, we will have to begin its payments in the year 2028. The IMF instructed us to begin the payment of bilateral debt only in 2033. However, our economy is so weak that it had been agreed upon to commence payment from 2028 onwards. The agreement is that weak. However, we keep in mind that we will be taking a massive effort to save the country towards the end of this year. With our skilled team, we will extend the date. We have to commence the repayment to 2033 as recommended by the IMF. We will provide the leadership to implement that progressive deal on behalf of the 22 million people of Sri Lanka.
The opposition leader made these statements at the event to hand over a smart classroom worth 1.177 million rupees to the Kithammahara Mahavidyalaya in Nittambua under the 271st phase of the Sakpala program. In addition to the smart classroom, 100,000 rupees was also donated to the school for development activities. Commissioner General of Elections, Samanshi Ratnayaka, said multinational companies play a vital role in Sri Lanka's political arena. He expressed these views during a program in Betiklo to raise awareness about the regulation of Election Expenditure Act.
අපි හැමෝම එකගෙන කාරණාවක් තියෙනවා. මැතිවරණය සඳහා දරන වියදම්.
One thing we all agree on is that campaign expenses for elections should be controlled in some way. However, we are working to change public opinion on this issue through various advertising methods. Before World War II, countries were often conquered through warfare, which established monarchies. Today, however, conquest takes place through economic and political strategies. Multinational companies have a significant influence in this process, especially for developing countries like ours. Foreign-owned companies can become a decisive factor in our national politics. This influence is particularly strong in countries with weak economics. As civil activists who understand this dynamic, we all are aware of how it affects us.
Election Commission officials, district secretaries, audit officers and representatives of civil organizations attended the program.
Minister of Foreign Affairs Ali Sabri has said that the successful debt sustainability process with bilateral creditors will provide Sri Lanka with an advantage of approximately $17 billion. The minister added that this situation will facilitate successful negotiations regarding international sovereign debts. The country's debt restructuring was done last year. The first target was completed. Our second goal was to restructure bilateral debt. That is what we have now successfully achieved. Third, we still have sovereign bonds. Discussions are being held on that. The end results of debt management with IMF bilateral creditor countries and debt management sovereign bond holders is that Sri Lanka gets an advantage of about $17 billion. So is it bad or good? It is quite hypocritical if we cannot be happy about it.
Minister of Foreign Affairs Ali Sabri expressed these views at the media briefing held yesterday at the Presidential Media Centre under the theme Collective Path to a Stable Country. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa, who left for China recently, participated in the 70th anniversary of 5 Principles of Peaceful Coexistence in Beijing. It was held under the patronage of Chinese President Xi Jinping. The President of China emphasized that for 70 years, the 5 principles of peaceful coexistence have shaped global diplomacy and international law.
Deputy Assistant Secretary of the U.S. Treasury Robert Caproth is scheduled to arrive in Sri Lanka next week.
U.S. Ambassador to Sri Lanka Julie Chong announced Deputy Assistant Secretary of the United States Treasury Robert Caproth's arrival next week, where he will be meeting with government officials, think tanks and financial sector leaders. Posting on X, she highlighted that Deputy Assistant Secretary Caproth's visit underscores U.S. commitment to supporting Sri Lanka during this crucial period, where Sri Lanka works to build its economic recovery and resilience, deepening reforms that encourage transparency, accountability and sustainability in government, economic and financial sectors is vital. On his last visit to Sri Lanka in October 2022, Deputy Assistant Secretary Robert Caproth met with President Ranil Wickremesinghe.
Newsfirst with the people.
UNP General Secretary Palitha Rangebandara's son, Yashoda Rangebandara, who was arrested over a motor accident in Karwalagaswava in Putlam, has been released on a bail of 500,000 rupees after he was produced before the Putlam Magistrates Court.
The accident took place at around 4:30 a.m. this morning near the 7th milepost in Mioya, Karuwalagaswaba. The accident took place when a car in which Yashodarange Bandara was travelling collided with a three-wheeler. Newsfirst correspondent reported that the three-wheeler driver was seriously injured and admitted to the Puttalam Base Hospital. Police said that only the two drivers were in the vehicles at the time of the accident. Yashodarange Bandara was released on bail this afternoon, while his driving license has been temporarily suspended.
Sri Lanka has offered to contribute specialized police units to combat emerging global security threats. This is according to a statement delivered by Minister of Public Security Tiranalis at the recent UN Chiefs of Police Summit 2024.
The threats to peace have become more diverse and complex than ever before. Violent conflicts have been on the rise during the last 2 decades. Protection of civilians has become a critical concern in many conflict-ridden areas, with the humanitarian landscape becoming increasingly hostile with non-traditional threats. New advanced technologies have opened new domains of security concerns, such as cybersecurity and autonomous weapon systems, together with the abuse of ICT for criminal purposes and the induction of mercenaries. I am confident that the Sri Lanka formed police unit, which is at readiness level 3, stands by with the capacity to handle the emerging security landscape. Madam Chair, organized crime, gang violence and illicit economies are rapidly on the rise. This is becoming a growing challenge to international peace. It is therefore imperative that the United Nations consider deploying specialized police teams with experience and skills to counter this menace. Sri Lanka is willing to contribute police, gendarmerie and criminal justice experts with experience and skills to counter such threats and to share the knowledge and experience with any host nation. Sri Lanka stands ready to partner in this noble endeavor.
A large amount of heroin, ice and cocaine worth nearly 200 million rupees were incinerated in a high-pressure furnace belonging to the Department Police in Vanathavilluwa today. This took place under the supervision of Puttalam Magistrate Ayoma Vimalaratna. In total, 614 kilograms of ice, 581 kilograms of cocaine and 13 kilograms and 681 grams of heroin were incinerated. The narcotics were seized from various land and sea operations. The narcotics were transported from the Colombo High Court to Vanathavilluwa in Puttalam under tight security for destruction. Newsfirst correspondent reported that the incineration process took over 24 hours.
The co-founder of Ocean Gate, which conducted a fatal excursion to the Titanic last year, is set to embark on a new journey. Let's take a look at the details and much more on The World Today.
Guillermo Sonline plans to study a virtually unexplored sinkhole in the Bahamas, which is dubbed as a portal to hell by the locals. According to foreign media, he plans to descend a submersible into the Dean's Blue Hole, one of the world's deepest ocean sinkholes. He will be joined by scientist Kenny Broad and Chief Medical Officer and former NASA astronaut Scott Parazinski. The company's website read, quote, "Dean's Blue Hole remains virtually unexplored, offering an opportunity to discover the hidden secrets of cave-dwelling species, geological climate history and unique ecosystems," unquote. Dean's Blue Hole is a 664-foot underwater cavern surrounded by a beach on a remote Bahamian island, according to Blue Marble. It formed some 15,000 years ago, and due to its extreme depth, very little is known about it. Kenyan activists circulated calls for fresh protests, strikes and sit-ins, demanding President William Ruto quit after nationwide demonstrations forced him to U-turn on proposed tax hikes. Ruto withdrew the contested finance bill on Wednesday and said he would listen to young people a day after Parliament was briefly stormed and set ablaze, and at least 23 people were killed in clashes with police. For some protesters, Ruto's eventual climb down came too late. A pamphlet shared widely online on Friday called for 7 days of activism, including countryside strikes and blocking of major roads on the 2nd and 4th of July. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says he is drawing up a comprehensive plan for how Kyiv believes the war with Russia should end. The Ukrainian president said that it is very important for them to show a plan to the end of the war that will be supported by the majority of the world. There are no current negotiations between Ukraine and Russia, and based on public statements by Zelensky and Russian President Vladimir Putin, the two sides appear as far apart as ever when it comes to the terms of a potential peace settlement.
There is no such thing as public money. There is only taxpayers' money. Margaret Thatcher said this in her address to the Conservative Party conference in 1983. Tonight we leave you with the words of the former British Prime Minister as food for thought. You take care and good night.
One of the great debates of our time is about how much of your money should be spent by the state and how much you should keep to spend on your family. Let us never forget this fundamental truth. The state has no source of money other than the money people earn themselves. If the state wishes to spend more, it can do so only by borrowing your savings or by taxing you more. And it's no good thinking that someone else will pay. That someone else is you. There is no such thing as public money. There is only taxpayers' money. And prosperity won't come by inventing more and more lavish public expenditure programs. You don't grow richer by ordering another checkbook from the bank. And no nation ever grew more prosperous by taxing its citizens beyond their capacity to pay. We have a duty to make sure that every penny piece we raise in taxation is spent wisely and well.